Welcome to City Builders, presented by MBR Partners. I'm Portia Bailey-Bernard, founder and managing principal of MBR Partners. At MBR Partners, we help companies, developers, and communities navigate growth through economic development strategy, public-private partnership, incentives, and stakeholder engagement. I launched City Builders because some of the most important conversations shaping our communities happen behind the scenes. This podcast is about the ideas, the capital, and the people building stronger cities. Today, I'm joined by Amy Brown, founder and CEO of Authenticx. I've had the opportunity to get to know Amy over the years, and she's become both a friend and someone I deeply admire. She's built an incredible company while making a meaningful impact in Indianapolis through her leadership, her commitment to people, and her willingness to do things differently. In this episode, we'll talk about Amy's entrepreneurial journey, what it took to build Authenticx, the lessons she learned as a founder and CEO, and why authentic leadership matters now more than ever. Amy, welcome to City Builders.
Thank you, Portia. So great to be here.
I'm so happy for you to join us today. So, as I said in the intro, I've gotten to know you over the years. Nolan, my husband, Nolan was also a guest on here, actually worked for you.
Yes. One of the best.
He describes you as one of his favorite leaders of all time.
That's kind.
And so I was just really excited to have you on here and talk about your journey and just you building Authenticx. But for those that don't know you, I want to start from the beginning and your journey because you're not from Silicon Valley. You don't have a computer science background, which I love. But it's so unique into how you got to this point as a founder. So I'd love for you just to kind of take us to how you even got here.
Sure. Yeah. How far back do I go?
You can go to the loop. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I grew up here in Indianapolis, went to school at Indiana University, and got my education in social work, actually. And my career really began in applying that social work degree in state government. And so I landed in the world of policy making and policy amending and really focused on healthcare and other types of policies affecting families. And through that work, I fell in love with this idea of making change at the macro level. Even though my degree was in social work, which is more traditionally a role that is interpersonal in nature, I really saw my impact and my calling to be more macro-based, system-based, influencing. And so after my time in state government was done, I joined the private sector and began working in health insurance and healthcare in general, and spent about 12 years in that space working in operations. And part of that journey was managing call center operations. And when I did that, two things happened for me. Number one, I began to listen to the recordings. You know, when you call customer service and it says this call's recorded for quality. So I started listening to those conversations that my company was facilitating with our customers. And the customers, keep in mind, are people like you and me. They're people who are covered by health insurance and they're trying to navigate their healthcare in this crazy system that is our healthcare system in the United States.
Yeah, I can only imagine with those conversations.
They were a great example of what is wrong in the system itself. And so the other thing that was happening to me besides listening was I was a peer on a leadership team with sales and marketing and compliance and strategy and product development. And I realized that none of those other functional areas within the company had any way of knowing what was happening in these call center conversations. But they are also there to serve the customer.
Yeah.
And I learned through listening that much of the problems that people have with healthcare are identified. There's evidence of what those problems are in the conversations. And so it's not really just a call center agent's job to solve some of these problems. It's the whole system. And so the idea came to me that if we could only scale the listening in a way that was actionable for all functional leaders within an organization. We could use this kind of dark data, if you will, data that hadn't ever been surfaced or used in a strategic way, and start to do that in real time all day, every day, so that leaders always had access to the voice of their customer, which should be driving their strategy.
Absolutely. So what was being done with those recordings
Yeah.
at that before you thought of someone should be doing something with this? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were stored, but largely ignored.
Okay.
And the reason they were stored were for the just in cases. So
Gotcha.
just in case someone complained and we needed to go find a call recording and listen back to it. Or healthcare is highly regulated. There are rules around how you communicate. There are rules around storage of data. And so a lot of healthcare companies store them based on requirements from a regulatory and legal perspective.
Okay. So you're saying we've got all this data just sitting here and we could really just listen to people and make improvements.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I love this. I am curious, looking back, and how did these moments, or when you're coming up with this idea and you're like, we could do something more with this, how did that experience prepare you for entrepreneurship before you realized it?
Yeah. So first, I'd say I don't think I could have started Authenticx or become an entrepreneur of any type prior to having a dozen plus years working in business. And the reason for that is, number one, a big part of building a company is leading people. And if I didn't have any people leadership experience, I think I would have failed very early in the journey of building my own company. Secondly, in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, the first thing you have to be able to do is prove that someone is willing to pay you for your idea and business. Like, you officially become an entrepreneur not when you say you are one, but when someone is opening up their checkbook and handing you dollars, right? And in order to create something that was of value, I first needed to understand the industry and the persona that I was going to sell into. So for the years leading up to starting Authenticx prepared me to have industry expertise about what people need and want from a product software. And it also allowed me to develop a network. Guess who you call when you start a company? You start calling your network. And so if I didn't have all of that, I never would have been able to be successful. So all of my experience leading up to the moment I decided to take the leap has been a key factor in being able to even make it beyond a year, let alone 5 years, let alone we're just now celebrating our 8th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So to dig a little bit deeper in that, what were some of the biggest lessons you learned in those earlier experiences and chapters that got you to this point of Authenticx?
Yeah, one of the biggest lessons that I've been reflecting on a lot is you need to prepare, and then you need to know that there are things that you won't be prepared for. So like, preparing looks like not just writing a business plan. That's important work, but you need to prepare yourself to imagine what it's like to be afraid.
Yes.
And imagine what it's like to experience rejection, and imagine the stress and anxiety you might feel when your phone isn't ringing or the emails aren't coming back at the timeline that you wish.
Yeah.
Because all of that did happen.
Yeah.
And I got advice once to emotionally try out taking the leap before actually doing it. And that was an important process for me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And it involved some sitting quietly and really journaling about it. It involved having real conversations with my husband about what life could look like.
Yes.
How long we'd need to go without my income, all of that type of thing. And that was super, super important. The second kind of key lesson, or the counterpart to that, is there will be times when you could not have prepared for what you're experiencing. And the thing that I've learned that I think every entrepreneur who's thinking about, taking a big leap, the thing that got me up off the floor, literally, the days that I thought, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's not working. I'm terrified. All of the thoughts that come to your head. The thing that got me up off the floor was the conviction that I had that the idea was meant to be, and just the total confidence and conviction that I had something that was worth failing for.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And it had to be like, I had to be able to say to myself, you will die happier knowing that you tried it
Yes.
and failed versus if you never tried it to begin with.
Yeah. Okay, so I love all of this. And selfishly, I feel like I'm getting like a pep talk from you in
Good.
starting MBR Partners. But
Yeah.
to your point about emotionally preparing yourself for the rejection and things not going well, I remember having a conversation with Nolan when we said, okay, I'm going to go out and do MBR Partners, to your point about the financial piece and that regular salary not coming in and how we're going to adjust and pivot and what that's going to look like and how things are going to shape for our children and our family. But
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's real. And you know what one surprising thing of the journey, like in that first year and a half, we did not take in any money into our bank account. We received, thankfully, some revenue from clients in the early days, but we chose to reinvest those dollars into growing the business because we had prepared to live without the income.
Yes.
Now, one of the most surprising things that happened at the time that I took that leap, I had 4 children. I still have 4 children, but they were young. They were age 3 to 10.
Oh my gosh.
And we had a conversation with them about cutting back on spending,
Yep.
involving things from what we ate, where we ate,
Yeah.
traveling,
Yes.
going to Target and saying yes to little things on the
Yeah.
shelves that they wanted. We talked about the need to say no to some of those things, which I was prepared for pain. I was prepared for guilt.
Yeah.
I was prepared for them complaining. What I was not prepared for was this beautiful thing where everybody felt like everybody in my family felt like they were doing their part
Oh, I
to
love
make this
that. Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
happen. And yes, it was a sacrifice, but it was a liberating
Yeah.
experience. And we had to come up with other ways to spend time together, which was fun and creative. But we also got to teach our kids the lesson of hard work and sacrifice.
Yes.
You can follow your dreams. We can tell our kids you can be anything you want to be. But if we don't show them that takes hard work,
Yes.
sacrifice, compromise, rejection, getting back up off the floor, then we're not really equipping them for what it's going to take. And
Yep.
so I wasn't expecting that blessing, but it definitely has been one.
Oh, I love that. And so I kind of want to go back a little bit too and talk about that leap. And so I'm just curious, when were you like, that moment, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to leave this high paying executive role. I'm going to go off on my own. What did that look like for you?
Yes. So I was the chief operating officer at an insurance company at the time. I had spent over a year noodling on the idea, but a solid 6 months like preparing
Okay.
and preparing our finances as a family, filing my LLC at the time,
Yeah.
starting to build out what my prototype product would be. But it was important to me that I not try to side hustle the sales process and getting out there. I wanted to, first of all, remain fully locked in with my employer, but
Yeah.
also I wanted, when I was ready to do this thing, I wanted to be able to go all in. But I hadn't set a date in my head. I was letting it fluidly come to me. And there was a day in late June where I was sitting in my office at my day job, and I just had I was by myself, and I had a very clear, intuitive feeling that it is time.
Yeah.
The things have come together enough, and you need to jump.
Yep.
And so I went home. I talked to my husband about it, and the very next day I turned in my resignation.
Oh my gosh. I love that. It just resonates so much just with what I'm experiencing right now. And
Yeah.
so now you've taken this leap. We got to build the company.
Yeah.
So what did that look like? Where did you start? And I know you had mentioned before you'd already begun noodling on it for a year. You were beginning the preparation process. After you put your resignation, I'm just really curious. What did you do next?
Yes. The very first thing I did was go to Colorado and be in the mountains for a week and try very hard to emotionally transition from point A to start to turn my attention to point B.
Yeah.
And even on that quote vacation, I was feeling a lot of anxiety. Oh, you got to get going. You got to get going.
Yeah.
But I did find that there's something about closure, like having a ritual around closure helps you kind of transition from one context to another. And
Okay.
that little week in Colorado helped me. But after that, I spent the next 3 months having coffee with people, talking to my network, asking for introductions, pitching the idea,
Yeah.
and trying to convince some early customers to give me a handful of their call recordings. And there was about a 3-month period of time where I didn't have any yeses. And so during that time, I did a lot of journaling to try to remind myself of the things that were going well.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I wasn't sleeping well during this phase and just like writing pages and pages of just giving myself a pep talk and thinking about marketing, thinking about if I were to get someone to say yes to the calls, what would I need to have in place on my computer and with my
Yeah.
software that I could take action quickly. I just tried to stay as productive and positive as possible. And once I got that first contract, things just started to naturally iterate over and over again. So,
And so for the listeners who aren't familiar with Authenticx, can you tell us about the company? And we've talked a little bit about the problem that you guys are solving for.
yes. So, today, AI listening company, what we do is we use our proprietary AI models that we've been building since the beginning to identify very specific healthcare problems that we know exist in the customer journey. And those problems are identified in real time as conversations are happening. And not only are they happening at the individual conversation level, but you can aggregate all that conversation data together to tell more of a systemic level story to leaders about what's really going on in the customer journey. And we look at that data set through a few lenses. One lens is from a quality lens, like how effective is the company serving that customer in that moment. The second lens is focused on compliance. Are they maintaining regulatory compliance during that interaction?
Yeah.
And then the third is really focused on learning and understanding the customer journey and the customer experience for the purpose of customer retention and growth of customers. So we try to answer both sides of the business equation for our clients, creating efficiency as
Yep.
well as helping them serve their customers in such a way that their customers want to stay and grow.
What are some of the biggest surprises in working with your customers that you've found as you're solving these problems for them and listening? What's kind of stood out to you the most or trends that you see?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things that I think tech companies focus on is efficiency and data visualizations and being data backed in the evidence that they produce and that users get in touch with. And of course, all of that is very important to speaking to the business user in terms of, yes, this makes sense. It's data backed. It's relevant. It makes sense for our industry, et cetera. But the surprising thing has been with our work and the data that we ingest, it's a human data source. These are human customers who are conveying oftentimes their heart and soul in these interactions.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they're desperate. They feel vulnerable. They're fighting either for their life or a loved one's
Yeah.
life. And so we built this capability in our platform to have leaders at our clients be able to actually hear the customers' voices. Leaders who wouldn't normally go down to the call center and sit side by side with a call center agent or log into a call center line and listen.
Yeah.
And what I've been so surprised about is how important the literal listening has been to the user's experience, because
Yeah.
it humanizes the data and it inspires them to act more quickly and with more conviction than they would have if they were just looking at a pie chart or a
Yeah.
trend line.
So today, Authenticx has grown to more than 150 employees. How has your role changed as transitioning? You're still a founder, but now you're a CEO and you've got this company and this large team. What has that looked like?
Yes, it's changed in so many ways. When you are a founder of a 10-person company, it's very much like you are the hub and everybody else is the kind of a spoke, and you're in command and control mode, right? But that does not scale. And so over the course of the years, I've had to learn how to trust, how to build a team
Yeah.
that I trust, how to know when to dive in
Yes.
and when to pull back out. I've had to reinvent myself in terms of what I should be focused on about every 6 months, because the company has grown so quickly. Things
Yeah.
just change so much, right? And today it's much more about capital. First of all, I am the tip of the spear when it comes to deciding whether or not we need more capital to fuel our growth or not. Investor relations is a big part of my role. Culture is the second aspect, is setting the tone of how we want to approach the world, how we want to approach our clients, and what values we want to live and die by. And then just vision for where the company is going in terms of growth, in terms of product. And so I try to keep fairly balanced in each of those three legs of the stool.
Yeah. And so I want to dig a little bit deeper into your comment about culture, because when Nolan worked for you, that was probably his biggest praise in terms of just the culture of Authenticx. And how did you build the amazing culture that you have? Like, where did it come from? How did it evolve? And I know so much of it with culture comes from the leadership. It's top down.
Yeah.
So I just want to dive into this. You've built this amazing culture in this company. How do you do that?
Yeah. It came from two places. What type of culture I wanted to build was inspired by two things. The first thing that it was inspired by was my own experience working in a variety of different cultures.
Yes.
I had seen the good, I had seen the bad, and I
Yeah.
had seen the ugly. And through those experiences, I learned so much about what type of culture inspired me and my colleagues. And I wanted to make sure I set up a culture that emphasized the things that inspire people and de-emphasized or didn't include things that tend to create fear or negative culture.
Yeah.
And so I was able to be intentional because of my experiences being an employee and having that experience. But the second reason or driver of how I wanted to build a culture had everything to do with this awareness that in order to get people to join a startup, that takes risk. It takes courage and risk for anybody to leave a job and join an entrepreneur, a founder of a company, and get behind her.
Yeah.
Right? And so I knew that it had to be personal for people. It had to be more than a job. It had to be more than a paycheck. I knew that we would do everything in our power to create the most competitive compensation package that we could at any given stage of our business. That said, that we couldn't rest on that alone. It had to be more than that. And so we've built a culture that is really designed to allow people to feel deeply connected and purposeful with their contributions to the work we're doing.
So in building that trust, because this was such an interesting point you brought up, and having someone, we're going to go all in on Amy. I'm going to join this team. I'm going to leave this stability into something that's just unknown. How do you build that trust with employees?
Yeah, it comes from the place of conviction that I had to convince myself first to leave my salary and my life to start this thing, right? And I try to build trust by being transparent and honest about the risk.
Yeah.
But also my commitment that I believe in this and that I will be working with all of my heart and soul to make this successful.
Yeah.
And I think my actions and my behavior, I knew was going to be the thing that would really keep people going. Is yes, I can see that she is open to listening to new ideas. She is pivoting when we need to pivot. She is willing to say no to things when they don't seem to align to what we're here to do. All of those things are really important, I think, along this journey of helping people trust me. That I cannot guarantee perfection, nor can I really guarantee outcomes.
Yeah.
That's the hard truth, is you do everything you can as a founder to set everything up for success. But at the end of the day, you don't control the outcome.
Yep.
You only can control how you've prepared.
Yeah.
To drive an outcome.
And if anyone's making promises on outcomes, I'm questioning kind of their character intent in the first place. Because to your point, there's no guarantees.
That's right.
But you can control, to what you said, and guarantee that you're going to give everything you can. And I'm going to be open, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to work hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good experience of keeping yourself honest with people. And it's been a really important part of just not only leading a team, but me maturing as a person, just constantly like asking myself, all right, are you doing everything within your control? And are you clear with yourself what is in your control versus what is not?
Yes. Yes. Oh, so good. I love that. And I want to transition and thinking more about your headquarters, your locations, and your culture. Why Indianapolis? Your work is also across the country. And so you could have gone anywhere you wanted to. So why Indianapolis?
Yes, it is my home. And while in the early days, there were definitely some investors and other founders who recommended that I move to the coasts, I decided that would not be an authentic reflection of myself and what I wanted to do. I think Indianapolis is a great place to live and build a family. And I wanted to be clear with myself that my family came first, and this is where I wanted to raise my family. But even closer to home, there was a bit of a debate on where to put the headquarters.
I remember this.
Yes. And so at Authenticx, we have about 70% of our workforce is based in and around the Indianapolis area. We do have about 30% that are distributed across the United States, but I always wanted the bulk of our employee base to be local so that we could get together and have that FaceTime. And there was a period of time where we were considering Midtown versus Carmel versus Fishers. And it was very important to me that we were in Indy proper.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of this city, and I'm proud of the diversity that this city is committed to. And I am a product of the Washington Township school system. It was important to me that we be in a location that supported the community in that particular township. And naturally, I won the argument.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. What are you most proud of?
Building something with a team of people that seems to be durable and seems to be growing. It's really validating to see that some of the biggest names in healthcare around the world are using Authenticx and growing with Authenticx. That just means that the idea that was had back in 2017, there was something really to that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something really to that. So now we're going to transition into the rapid fire portion of City Builders. So I'm going to say a question phrase, and you just give me your first reaction. Best leadership advice.
Stay true to yourself.
Yes. One quality you hire for.
Scrappiness.
Ooh, yes. Yes. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Favorite place in Indianapolis?
I love the gardens at Butler.
Beautiful.
The campus is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Book recommendation.
Founding Brothers of the United States. And it's a much more honest look at the founders of our country and all the contradictions between what they were doing and how they were living their lives.
Okay, I need to read this.
It's really good. It's one of the more honest pieces of history that I've read.
What's it called?
The Founding Brothers.
The Founding Brothers. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. One word your team would use to describe you.
Hopefully authentic.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you were going to say. Something people would be surprised to know.
That I have massive social anxiety when I go into a networking room.
Really?
Yes. Put me on a stage with a job to do. I can do that all day, even if it's got 1,000 people in the room. But ask me to walk into a room full of people networking and mingling. That's when I have major anxiety.
Wow. I did not know that.
It's the difference between having a job and a purpose versus not.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And then what's your favorite way to recharge?
Oh, definitely being outdoors, spending time disconnected from Wi-Fi and cellular and being on a river.
Okay. I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. I just appreciate you and the work and just your conviction and leadership and just how authentic and you're just very real. And that means a lot. And as someone who's trying to build and get something started herself, just everything you hit on today was so on point. And taking the leap and having the conviction, I just really thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I am impressed and proud of what you're building. The city needs your work. And so it's an honor to be here. And thanks so much.
And thank you for listening to City Builders, presented by MBR Partners. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who would enjoy it. You can also find City Builders on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, I'm Portia Bailey-Bernard. Keep building.